Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer, sponsored by Arnold Clark. Delighted to have your company here tonight on the show. I am Peter Martin and I'm joined by three guests this evening. Alan Ruff, as ever, with me. Gordon Smith is here. Of course, it is Thursday. And delighted to say Jackie McNamara is our special guest. We're going to be talking Scotland, among other things, today. Yeah, lots to talk about, and Jackie McNamara is here. He's a former Scotland internationalist, so I might as well start with you and ask you, have you ever witnessed anything like it for call-offs in this international squad?
No, it's been quite a few. Normally if it's for friendly, but I think one of this importance, it's a bit of a surprise so many. Obviously it's disappointing that so many pulled out.
Yeah, here's one to put you right behind the eight ball. Have you ever pulled out of a squad and there's nothing wrong with you?
No.
No.
Not at all.
It's a strange situation we have. There are some players who have a legitimate reason. I think sometimes players have to keep private life to the side. There are circumstances which I think are legitimate, but there are people that sometimes just want to play when it suits them. What's your take on that?
Again, there's things that you maybe don't know behind the scenes, family problems or different things, but I think it's down to the manager, the national team, to decide whether it's right or not. You know, he'll know the ins and outs of it. If he thinks it's genuine, if it's somebody just wanting to play for the country. But for me, it was a great honour to play for the country. You know, I think I had 33 caps, but I think I'd been in about 70 squads. Disappointed when I wasn't playing, but I always wanted to play.
Yeah, suddenly, Gordon, we're looking and we're thinking to ourselves, I mean, we've struggled over the last week to think who's going to play, what formation he's going to use. I think the biggest worry is the back line.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought I have to get into it, but I agree with what you're saying. I think that the call-offs have to have been legitimate, because this isn't friendlies we're talking about here. These are competitive matches that are crucial towards Scotland qualifying for the European Championship. So everybody who's available should be available. So they need to make sure they're genuine, and if they're not genuine, any of these people, then they shouldn't ever be called up again, in my opinion. It is difficult to choose. I think the biggest thing, obviously, is the centre-back position, but I'm quite pleased the boy Bates has been called in, because he is playing regularly at a good level, and everybody says it's German second tier, but that is a high standard still. I know I've seen games, I've seen players from that level. So I think, and now you've got to look at the scenario there where, I think even maybe Tierney can get in and play there with his experience to play right back, and you've got Bates and you've got like McKenna and obviously Robertson. So that could be a back four that are capable, and I think that's the main thing about it.
You know what it's like to play out of position. Kieran Tierney, I'm not happy with him at right back.
It's not. I think he does play when he's played, but I think Alex got a tough decision to make, and it'll only be the right one if we win. The centre half is a problem area with the call-offs. Right back is a problem area, but Stephen O'Donnell done it right the last time. But you've got Robertson. Unfortunately, we get two great left backs at the moment. But then you go into the midfield, and then the strikers. He has a lot of difficult decisions to make, I think, and I think you'll only be happy if we win the nation. If it doesn't, then it opens up for criticism.
Yeah, I think if we don't, minimum a draw, Ruffy. I know what the permutations are, but we're talking about Albania here. This is how far we've dropped.
Yeah, I'm beginning to take the focus off this game now. I'm more interested in the Israel game. I think the Israel game is a game the one that's going to qualify us, and I think you have to be wary. We're right down at the bare bones with this one. What happens if you go into this game and you pick up another 3 injuries? And maybe 4 injuries, or we nicks here and there, and then you go into the Israel game and you're now another 3 or 4 players down. So I think Alex got to really be very careful in who he picks for this game.
But I think, though, this game is crucial in respect, though, because I think if we get a point from it, then it means that although we'd still have to beat Israel when we play them, but the goal difference aspect will not matter then. If we lose this game against Albania, then we might have to get into the Israel game having to win by 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah.
That's a bigger problem, because they're a good side, Israel. So I think that as long as we're not losing any goals, a point from this game would mean that any win against Israel puts us through.
Yeah, listen, if we get 2 or 3 more call-offs, it's quite simple, Ruffy. Jackie comes back into the game, plays right back, because he hasn't let himself go the way the rest of us have. Obviously, Gordon, you train every day, but nevertheless.
The midfield's pretty strong.
Aye, I won't get in the midfield.
You're absolutely right on that point. I mean, the last person you were hoping to hear losing or calling off is John McGinn.
Yeah, he's done well. I think he's adapted quite well down to the English Championship as well. In the games with Scotland, he's been a good performer. But I still think we've got enough in midfield. It is quite attacking. You see the way Celtic played last week. They had McGregor and the other ones in midfield, quite attacking midfield, but it worked. In a tough game, although we're going away from home. But
I think you've actually got to go down that line for a Celtic midfield, even like Armstrong, ex-Celtic coming in, but you get Forrest, Armstrong, and you've got McGregor, who's outstanding at the moment. But even Ryan Christie comes into the equation now, I think, in terms of his form of late and how he's managed he fits in with like some McGregor and all that. So although Shinnie is talking about and he's deserved to be considered, Shinnie, I think Christie is also a real strong candidate for a position there.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about that. I mean, Gordon's made the valid point on rhyming off players. Jack Henry's come into the equation as well. David Bates, they'll be battling it out to partner McKenna. But do you think Alex should be looking and saying to himself, OK, we're up against it, so start to look to the core of Celtic to try and get you this result?
I think you look to who's playing well at the moment. I think, that takes the pressure off Alex as well. They're playing well, they're playing, the boys scored a number of goals in the last few games for Celtic. He's in a new deal, he's going to be confident. Same at the back, I think Gordon's talking about the centre defence. If it's Bates or Hendry's have a bad time, he's not played a lot of games recently. So, as I said, the only thing he can do in terms of getting things on his side is to play the ones that are on form at the moment. And if it doesn't win, he's going to get criticism anyway. Yeah. But if you don't do that, then he's leaving himself open for a lot of people to have attack at him.
Yeah, we're having a debate constantly, Ruffy, talking about the back line. We've got at least some other options in the middle of the park. I don't think any of us can work out what's happening up front.
No, that's what I said last week. I think the emphasis should be on the midfield players to get round about that box. There's certainly in the midfield, there's guys who can score goals. Forrest, we've seen what he can do. Armstrong can score goals as well, and if it's Christie, so can he and Fraser. So although we want a striker to be a goal scorer, this might not be the case. This might be the striker just does all the legwork and the midfielders get run about him.
That's probably why, I agree, that's probably why I think, the fact that Fletcher's come back in there, he's the most experienced of the striking options we have, and I think that's why he might go down that line first and foremost. Bring Fletcher, play him up front, because you've got a lot of legs in midfield, you've got a lot of people that can go and support the front. You need somebody who plays up there to hold the ball up maybe and bring other people into the game, and Fletcher does that well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think he's the person that he will go to, but the argument here, Jackie, is suddenly people say, well, wait a minute, what about Matty Phillips? He's done well, he's put a shift in, but what about, for example, Callum Patterson? He's scoring goals at the highest level. Yeah,
he's scoring goals. I agree with Gordon saying there, in terms of the midfield with the legs we have to go and support it, but also when you're under pressure, it's better to turn them. Having that little bit of pace. There's an argument there for Johnny Russell as well, who can actually obviously work with Johnny. He's a good striker, he can hold the ball. Despite his size, he's decent in the air. And he can get in behind. I thought he'd done well in the other Scotland games. So it's not as if he hasn't got options. It's there's an argument for a few of the players up there. Especially the midfield, get up and supporting him. We have got legs with Armstrong and Forrest, if Fraser plays, Christie. If it sticks in there, then we get in behind them. But
well, put your manager's head on then. Ryan Christie, it's a whirlwind. We were talking about 2 months ago, everybody's thinking he's going to be heading out the door because there's no way he's going to get into that Scotland squad. Suddenly, he's in the Celtic team, he's one man of the match. He's had the most unbelievable couple of months.
Football's all about confidence. If you get opportunity, he's been waiting patiently for his chance at Celtic, and he's taken it there. There's been injury to Scott Brown, and just put McGregor back. He's come in there and done really well in the European games. And that's the difference. It's okay doing it in the Premier League in Scotland every week, but when you go and stay up to that next level and handle that with the expectation and the demands of that helps you go into the international level.
Yeah, well, I'm sure some of the Aberdeen players will be hoping they can feature in this game. At some point, Graham Shinney was talking to the assembled members of the press, and he said, first and foremost, there's a confidence that they can actually go and win in Albania.
Well, we obviously had the game here against them, so it'll be a tougher game, obviously being away. Israel, I think, got beat over there, so it shows that it'll be a tough game, but if we can play our full potential, we know it's a game that we can go and win. So it's a game that the whole squad's looking forward to, and like I said, trying to turn things around from the last result.
Well, I'm going to suggest to you that if you're looking for a player with a bit of bite, he's got it. He can certainly mix it up. Is he the creative player, or is he the player that's got a role in that Scotland squad?
I think he could be the player that could come into the game at some stage. You know, hopefully we are maybe 1-0 up or whatever, and you could get him in there. You know, he is a bit of a tiger in midfield. He's in about people. But for me, what I saw of Albania and Hampden doesn't frighten me at all. I don't know if the guys would agree. I think they're one of these kind of teams are the same, play the same at home as they do away. They don't change anything. They're not all of a sudden going to have three guys up front. That's the way they play, one guy up front. And all right, technically they're very, very gifted, but I think we've got enough in there to go about this game and get something out of it.
I think in terms of the team, Peter, because of the centre-backs are maybe not players that played together and all that, I think Alec might look at the midfield as most managers would do and say, do I need somebody there who's more of a defensive type midfield rather than having like some McGregor, Christie and Armstrong playing who are all attacking in that central area? Do you know what I mean? You might go for one sitting and two that can attack, like McGregor and Armstrong's the attacking players. Right, so you might go Shinney more than Christie, to be fair, but it'll be interesting to see what he does if he feels he can win the game with the other types of players.
Since the England game, have we scored a goal in open play? I don't think we have.
Yeah.
I think we scored 2 corners with Nace and the own goal against Albania, and we Griffiths has 2 free kicks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've opened anybody up at all. So it might be set pieces that we win this game in.
Yeah. Any chance you can stop putting us on a downer, by the way? We're trying to look for something positive here, and with that in mind, I kept looking there, Jackie, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, you're part of a team. I mean, I think, was it Gould, yourself, Christian Daly was there, Colin Calderwood, Colin Hendry, Lambert, Jackson, Kevin Gallagher, Gordon Jury, Gary McAllister,
John Collins.
It's not a bad 1998 side that we would call on. What do you make of the levels that we're now looking at?
It's difficult to say. I genuinely believe we have got some great talent there. I do. Some good young players coming through. It's a balance. You know, that some of the games you've watched, the defensive side, if you sort that out, I think when we qualified for the World Cup '98, Craig was very defensive in his setup, and we maybe steal the odd goal. Weren't brilliant to watch or whatever, but you know, with a real strong defensive unit, and there's attacking players in that with pace and creativity we've got just now. But if we can sort the rest of it out, we've got a real chance. I generally thought we had a real chance of qualifying for this. You know, it's the first time in a long time you would expect it. You know, there was signs under Gordon that we were getting it right. The Georgia game let us down away from home. But I generally believe we've got the personnel to go and do it.
Yeah, we are absolutely talking about Albania and Israel. That's how far it's dropped to. My personal opinion is we're in the gutter and we're slowly creeping out of it. I mean, I look at the levels, and sometimes I think we elevate players to a point here in Scotland where they are nowhere near it. I still think we are, you know, we're down at, I think, 40 in the FIFA rankings. We're trying to beat a team who's 94th in the FIFA rankings when we get to Hampden and, you know, on Tuesday. Well, that's where we've always struggled, has been the favourite. When we're underdog, I always felt we've done well. You know, England game, nobody gives a chance. We're not, unfortunately, not to win it. These games, we lose it away to Georgia, a game you would expect to win. You know, and that's something that's always been with us. We're always favourite when we're up against it. Yeah. Is it fair to say there's a wee bit of apathy creeping in now among the support? Because as Jackie alluded to there, with Gordon it was starting to look good, but people still wanted him sacked because they didn't get to the 2 tournaments, which is fair cop.
Yeah.
Gordon knew the risks himself, but I thought there was a sense of getting something right. Now I'm going into this, and Ruffy's saying we're a wee bit worried about Albania. We should be thinking about Israel in the final game of this group.
Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise. There is a bit of apathy about it. Maybe even and that's what's happening. Is even saying that seems to be also apparent with the players. This apathy. The players don't want to be there as well, and the fans are the same. But should we get the results, should we get a good result against Albania, then it builds towards the Israel game. Israel were a lot better than I thought they were going to be. Actually, they played very well on the night. Despite the fact of world ranking, I thought Israel were excellent. We didn't play well at all, but Israel were a lot better than I thought they were going to be.
You had to take the game to Israel, Jackie. I
think that's the problem. You watch the game, I don't think many of them knew what they were doing defensively. They weren't the back defenders didn't know where to come in. They weren't protected in there, so they were coming off and turning run at them. It just looked so disjointed, and I think that goes right through the team. When you get that, there's no solid structure to that game for us. So hopefully, I believe this is an important game. Albania, though, you look at Israel, but the most important game is the next one. We need to get something there just for the momentum, a bit of confidence.
This sets us up. It depends what the result against Albania, as I said before, sets us up for the Israel game being virtually like a cup final to a degree. It's a one-off, crucial game at Hampden in order to get seeded for the next round, because there's still another group to go through. We're not through the championships by beating Israel, but it helps us with the seeding for the group. Yeah,
the good thing is, and thankfully we've got Ruffy here because he knows the group inside out and the permutations of it. But the one thing I was going to say to you, Ruffy, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you about it, is the fact that when you have players who are pulling out, that's one thing, especially if they're of a certain standard. We don't have a lot of experienced players that can, as Jackie mentioned there, against Israel away, apart from the fact that I thought we were abysmal even trying to go forward to take the game to Israel of all teams, we don't have a Scott Brown who could maybe turn around and settle a few people and say, look, this is the structure, this is where you need to stand, this is how we need to protect the back four. We don't have anybody like that.
No, I've said this right from the start, that this is a novice international side. These guys are feeling their way. They're okay, they're playing in the first team and in good top quality sides, but when you go into the international side, you've then got to prove yourself, you've got to put a mark down. And so far we haven't done that. So they'll all, not them all, but the majority of them will be getting into the game a wee bit apprehensive, not wanting to let anybody down. And when you're like that, you're not maybe giving 100%, you're just finding your way into the game. And if you go a goal behind, that sets you back. So that's why they need a positive start. We need to, get in front and grow on that.
Yeah, we are determined by results, especially managers, you know it yourself. I think if he doesn't get through this group, he's under intense pressure. I would go as far as to say I think the SFA would look at it and say if you can't get through a group with Israel and Albania, the game's a bogey.
I think he'll know that himself, to be honest. I think, going into it at the start, as I said, it's a great opportunity for us. And I think the first few games as well, he's chopped and changed with different personnel and systems. He's tried to accommodate Tierney and Andy on that side, and you could see, as I said, the last game, I don't think anybody really knew what their jobs were. It was like off the cuff, and I know you don't have a lot of time to work with each other in international football. You have a few days, but it's so important they're organised and well drilled before they go out.
Okay, that's Scotland. I'm going to get your prediction, Jackie, before you go then on this programme. Scotland, first of all, against Albania, and how do you see it going against Israel?
The positive side to me, I think we'll win. I do. I think we're up against it. I think everything's went against them the last few days with all the call-offs. We have still got enough, surely, to beat Albania, even though it's away from home. I can see us conceding, unfortunately. I'll go 2-1.
2-1
to Scotland, yeah.
Okay, Gordon?
I think we'll draw with Albania and beat Israel.
Ruffy, the prophet of doom.
No, I think we'll beat Albania 1-0, but it'll be a tense 90 minutes. You know, we'll all be behind the couches as usual in the last 10 minutes. But no, I think we've got young players in the midfield who I think can come up with a winner.
Yeah, I think the good news for us, Ruffy, is you're not with the Scotland camp, because at the moment, anytime you're near a camp, they're not winning games. They're not winning games. You got a big AGM tonight, Ruffy. You're under pressure.
Yeah, obviously you've got you're answerable to the people who pay the money, but we'll see what happens.
Jackie, if I said to you there would be a bog standard director's answer from Ruffy, he's under pre, isn't he?
I think there's a few in front of him.
Okay, a couple of things before we finish, guys. Candace, Rangers considering their options after the SFA's explanation on this one. Willie Collum, second yellow card to Candace, Gordon, was for blowing kisses to goad Anton Ferdinand. Now, if we're yellow carding people for blowing kisses, the game's a bogey.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how that could be an argument, but in order for to get a yellow card for it, and that means it's a red, I think the referee should have taken that into account. The fact I'm not going to give him, because who else noticed that?
Yeah.
Really, you know, it's a bit of antagonism between two players. We don't know why. He might have been reacting to something that Anton Ferdinand said to him, so you don't know what. But he's not done anything physical to him. He's done nothing. I think it's a bit strong. And
strangely enough, Jackie, you played with Paolo Di Canio. If they're blowing kisses, he'd even. I don't think you're going to get too many games.
Yeah, I mean, the whole setup's it's wrong. You know, it's a second yellow. You should be able to appeal a yellow card the same as a red card, especially, as Gordon said, when it's a sending off offence. And blow a kiss, so what? You know, there's so many things going in the park to book somebody for that. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. Were you ever in a situation where you lost the plot in a game?
Many a time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to put a picture up or something.
Did you blow any kisses?
No.
I remember punching Mark Haley, but I didn't know anything about it.
You're a braver man than
I
me.
got away with it.
Yeah.
I got away with it.
I just about you didn't blow my kiss, so you've been sent off.
Yeah. To be fair, by the way, were you not the SFA chief executive? I can't believe you've not handed him a retrospective fine for hooking Mark Haley. Ruffy,
I'll look back at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Ruffy, VAR is coming into the English Premier League. I think, again, because we're the poor neighbours, I think we're going to be under intense pressure in Scotland. They're going to bring it in next season, and we are just going to crank it up even more that we should have it.
Yeah, but it's financial for us. You know, we don't get the money they get by a way. But I don't think we'll have it for a long time yet. It'd be great to have it. You know, interesting in England and having. I don't think Raheem Sterling's particularly happy about bringing it in. You know, because he's quite happy with that kicking the ground and taking a penalty. A bit of honesty might come into it.
Yeah. Oh, sporting integrity, yes, not a chance. Just on that point, Gordon. You know, we're in a situation where I think they're going to announce, a major deal with one of the broadcasters. Yeah. You know, it could be a Sky, it could be a BT. I think there will be a push to bring in VAR. Maybe not as early as next season, but I think the next 2 years they'll be under intense pressure.
I think so. I don't think it quite required what they had in the World Cup, a panel of people looking at everything. All I think you need is the fourth official could maybe even have something on his phone, the cameras at the game, and say to the referee, there's something maybe I've seen here, you should come and have a look at it. And I do feel, and I think that I still believe this should happen, that it should be based on appeals from the touchline, from the technical area. You get 2 appeals per game. If you get them right, you've still got an appeal. If you get them wrong, you've lost them. And that's where they should look at the...
In America, does the referee not come off the park and actually look at the screen?
He does if the fourth official and the panel alert him to it. He has to have the panel alert him to the fact, though, and then he'll come back and have a look, and then it's his final decision again. Jackie, on that point, I can see as maybe having a watered-down version of it, but still something that's operational that allows us to make that call.
Absolutely, if it helps the referee, it takes away that pressure on him. I think as Gordon said, if it's, you just take one person to look at it. I know it's difficult even because it's slowed down and sometimes things can look worse, but you know, it's not just the money aspect, people losing their jobs, and it's so important to get these little things right. And for referee, he's got to come up with the backlash from making the decision.
Right, the Neil McCann incident recently was a great example of it. Penalty Kilmarnock got, and he's lost his job.
Yeah. Do you think there's a need now for us to accelerate the call for it, though?
Yeah, why not? If it's doable. I know Al said about the money side of it, and it'll not be to the same extent as what they'll do down in England, because obviously the finance will dictate that. But if you've got the facilities there to the camera to see something there, one screen, fourth official stands there side of the park and tells you to come out your technical area standing there anyway. So you'd rather he was actually doing something than worrying about where the managers are standing.
Okay, it's a perfect way to finish. Jackie, it still looks as if he could play. I wish we had a Jackie McNamara available for us for Scotland. The discussion will continue right up until the game against Albania away and then Israel. Let's hope Jackie's right and we do indeed celebrate topping that group. Thanks to Jackie McNamara for coming in to join us. Thanks to Gordon and to Ruffy. Don't forget you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.